Ah, well, what a week it has been so far. How has it been for you all? I'm curious. For me, it's been a little confusing and a little frustrating. However, quite relaxing at the same time. I've gotten to spend a lot more time in my house here in Portland, Oregon, just being a homebody and resting and taking care of the yard and my house. It's been great. It was a great way to spend my Cancer full moon. All things aside, though, I'll cut to the chase. I'm late, and I'm sorry, guys. It's kind of ironic because I've been home a lot more than normal. I didn't even go out last weekend, which is almost unheard of because I work in the event industry. I'm a DJ, so I pretty much go out every weekend because of my career. However, last weekend I did not. Anyways, I just had a funny thing happen because despite me being a homebody, I managed to confuse myself pretty well because I produce everything by myself. I create the words you hear. I sit in front of the microphone. I do everything. So the level of attention needs to be high on my end. And for some reason, despite me not leaving my house, I miscommunicated with myself. I misread something. I think I know why. It's because basically I also do a forecast for Tuesdays on another podcast called the Fun Astrology Podcast with Thomas Miller. Thomas Miller is one of my podcast mentors and astrology mentors, and I do his forecasts every Tuesday. And to keep things streamlined between Thomas and I record a week in advance. So this last Tuesday, I recorded for Tuesday, the 21st of January for the Fun Astrology Podcast. After I finished up that episode, I promptly just rolled into recording the Weekend Goddess Report, and I started reporting for the weekend of January 24th through 27th, which is not the weekend of January 17th through 20th. And that's where the mix-up happened. However, I didn't even realize that I was reporting for the weekend of January 24th through the 27th until Wednesday night, which means I just used up all of my feasible time to properly produce a well thought out report for you all by my normal deadline of Friday at 12 a.m. I strive to record these weekend forecasts earlier in the week, such as Monday through Wednesday, because once Wednesday hits, I am responsible for throwing a weekly event here in Portland, Oregon called Flow Night, and this Flow Night is at Jaja PDX, which is a art collective that I actually do studio management for. So if you're in Portland, Oregon, and you're looking for a studio space, yes, I help run a multidisciplinary art studio space called Jaja PDX, and we do have some spaces available from $400 to $1,500 a month. And you can schedule a tour with me by sending me an email at membership@jajapdx.com. And Jaja PDX is spelled J-A, J as in Joseph, J-A-J-A, like haha, but Jaja PDX. So I'm a studio manager once Wednesday evening hits, and then we roll into the weekend and I put on my DJ hat because I'm also a DJ. My DJ name is Mazes. M-A-Z-E-Z, like Liz with two Z's, but Mazes, M-A-Z-E-Z. All right, enough of that nonsense. Now that you have heard my excuses / my little story, to be quite frank with you all, I was a little embarrassed on Wednesday evening when I discovered that I was recording for the future, and I was a little afraid to be honest about it, but I realized that my little story or excuse, whatever have you, for why I am late today for this Weekend Goddess Report of January 17th through January 20th, has actually some parallels to the energy of this last week going into this weekend, because this last week has been full of false starts. We're coming out of a applying opposition from the Sun to Mars retrograde in Cancer, which peaked on Thursday the 16th, so yesterday. This opposition has been with us for a while. considering the sun in Capricorn has been within a 10-degree orb of this Mars in Cancer since January 5th. We've had about 2 weeks of this restless fire starter energy. No pun intended, but yes, devastating wildfires did occur under this influence. And on last Monday, January 13th, the full moon in Cancer conjunct Mars retrograde only added to the potency of all that we have been experiencing. And if you would like more astro dialogue on the LA wildfires along with the Cancer full moon, I suggest you go and listen to my episode from last weekend, January 10th through 13th. This weekend, the sun is taking necessary space from Mars retrograde. However, we are not out of the hole yet. Blockages will still exist this weekend. On January 19th, 2025, Saturday, Venus will come to meet Saturn in Pisces. Saturn is our sacred bookkeeper, our holy referee of the cosmos. And lucky for us, Saturn and Venus do get along. They're family. So this reunion of kindred spirits is supportive, especially for those of us who have been feeling exceptionally confused these days. Saturn will certainly be willing to clear up any confusion for us that we've been experiencing over the last, if we really want to put a time limit on it, I guess we could say last December 21st, 2020, when Saturn and Jupiter met in the sign of Aquarius at the 0 degree of the sign. Yeah, it feels like all this weirdness, confusion, if anything, we've just been in denial of it since 2020. And now that it's 2025, we're like fully in the sauce and people are becoming more articulate about it. So yeah, I feel like the confusion's been with us for a while. We're only just starting to use our words for it because it's been 5 years and Pluto is now in the sign of Aquarius. Ooh, and you know what? The sun on Tuesday, January 21st, will be making a conjunction to Pluto in the sign of Aquarius. But before that conjunction, the sun will enter Aquarius on Saturday, January 19th. Happy birthday to our Aquarius suns out there. The sun and Pluto will meet within the 1st degree of the sign of Aquarius. So enjoy the time that Venus is with Saturn, despite the irony of it all. I'm going to do my best to explain how you can enjoy yourself among all the boundaries and blocks that are in front of you. Let's talk about the sign Pisces and what it embodies. Pisces is the last zodiac sign. Pisces is the symbol of 2 fish. It is embodiment of almost a yin and a yang. There's a natural dualism in the sign of Pisces. It is the thing that makes spirit flesh. It's also the thing that releases flesh from spirit. Saturn being in the sign of Pisces for about the last 2 years now has been hard for some of us to rightfully comprehend. Saturn is quite literally the limit of the solar system that we can see with the naked eye, while Pisces is what we can perceive beyond the 5 senses. Venus will be coming to hang out with Saturn this weekend, suggesting that Venus, our current evening star in the northern hemisphere, will be highlighting boundaries for us this weekend, specifically the boundaries of space and time, along with the physical and concrete limitations of this 3-dimensional world. Venus, our evening star conjunct Saturn in Pisces, will also be creating a cosmic highlighter to worlds and realms beyond our 5 senses. Not that we'll be able to perceive them. Little breadcrumbs are starting to be left by beings from worlds beyond that we in our 3-dimensional world are starting to notice and follow. Carrying on, if Saturn is the edge of our solar system, that is to the naked eye without a telescope or a 3-dimensional apparatus or tool, then we must be on the very edge of something big here, as a collective and as an individual. I hope you all are not afraid of heights because the ledge we are currently on, the precipice of, is impressive. And now that we're aware that we are standing on this ledge, we can finally take stock of where we have been. I would say that we've been existing within a liminal space. And when beings of the 3D are exposed to a liminal environment, that is to mean a dualistic environment, one such as Pisces or such as the sun rising or the sun setting, liminal, that is what I'm describing. If we are in a liminal environment for an extended period of time, that causes the human being within its five senses to become confused. We are creatures of cycles. You know who else likes cycles? Saturn. This weekend, with the help of Saturn and Venus, we will be out in our metaphorical gardens planting new seeds to be grown for new cycles that are about to begin. Yeah, we just had the new year and everyone thought we just started a new cycle, but the thing is that we are actually in the ending of an old cycle. We haven't even started this whatever new cycle thing it is. I don't know what it is, but energetically, I just know that we are still in the birth canal, my friends. And with Pisces in mind, we are being asked to surrender. Surrender to our higher selves, the highest octave of what we can be, Pisces. If we truly would just take a moment to take a deep breath and pause and be thankful for what we have, what we are, and the things and beings around us, we'd be able to accept the fact that we are literally standing over a ledge. This impressive ledge into this great abyss could be a metaphor for Saturn and one of his boundaries. If we can find comfort in uncomfortable situations, we grow as a person. This isn't to say that what we desire, Venus, needs to be restricted and turned into cut and dry, simple things. It's just saying for you to accept where you are, to have a greater Venusian experience, you need to surrender and be grateful for what you have, because everything right now is going to get tossed off that cliff that I talked about, the impressive one. So, are you ready to fall? What are you holding on to? What are you afraid of? What's so bad about the abyss? All right, I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you all for tuning in and for your patience. I'm Lizz Grace Christie, and this is my channel, Galactic Mythology. I really appreciate it when you all interact with my work, such as by leaving a comment, liking the video, or sharing with friends. I also appreciate it when people go out of their way to tell me in person that they really enjoyed my report. So, whatever, I am after the algorithm acknowledging it, but if you do see me in person and you have a comment about my astrology report, you are welcome to come and talk to me about it. I really appreciate this audience that I'm growing, and I also really appreciate Thomas Miller and the Fun Astrology podcast audience. If you are not listening to the Fun Astrology podcast, you probably should. It is available on any streaming service. Thomas does a really good job at producing content and getting it pretty much anywhere. And if you are still listening and you're curious, I did give away 11 free astrology consultations last weekend I announced it, yeah. And I do have 11 winners. Once I'm done wrapping up this podcast here, I'm going to email everyone that won and email those that just barely slipped through the cracks and turned into number 12. One more thing that I will say is that I am a woman that wears many hats. I did mention that I am a DJ, I work in the event industry, and I am a artist studio manager for Jaja PDX. I'm also a professional astrologer, and I offer astrology consultations year-round on my website, galacticmythology.com. I have readings from 30 minutes to an hour, as well as options where you can ask me questions and I can send you pre-recorded videos and also transit reports. All right, y'all, I love you. I really appreciate you for hanging in there with yourselves and with me. I'm Lizz Grace Christie. Peace on